Cool, the journalists at the BBC have got the right arse-ache with the company lately, haven't they? Earlier this week, 95% of them voted that the BBC chairperson, Richard Sharp, needs to go, which I thought was quite an important vote. They were BBC journalists voting for the BBC chairman to go. That's quite important. Now this, look. BBC journalists overwhelmingly vote to strike, with mass walkout looming. To be fair, it can only be good for the country if there's no BBC journalists working. Obviously, they might shoot themselves in the foot a bit here. But the staff at the BBC are starting to mutiny somewhat, aren't they? And it's interesting. I like it a lot. Let's see what all this is about. BBC staff are poised for industrial action after voting overwhelmingly to strike, the National Union of Journalists has confirmed. Is there any professional body that's not considering or doing strike action at the minute? It's crazy, isn't it? The union said 83% of members had backed strike action, with 17% opposed. So yeah, as I said a minute ago, they want to be careful though, because having no BBC News reported for a while would be nice. Be a nice break for the country, wouldn't it? People might realise. But why are they striking anyway is the important thing. Have they got a reason for it? Is it money as always? Well, it's probably a bit of that, but they are claiming that it's the changes to local radio. It's putting a lot of them out of work. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some BBC News people in here as well, because that's put a fair few out of work. But this is still about local radio. It's not going away. Tim David, the boss of the BBC, he has got to regret those changes he made. He's got to regret them, hasn't he? Unlike some unions, our dispute is not about pay, rather than how resources can be best used to serve our audiences. They'll get pay in there somewhere. I've never known a strike to happen without it being pay in there somewhere. It's always in there, isn't it? That's why I'd strike. Our reps will be meeting shortly to discuss the next steps, but the door remains open for the BBC to engage in constructive discussions. It added, although local radio is our main focus, members remain concerned about terms and conditions under the Digital First proposals. Yeah, that's the BBC's new thing. The new thing, that's all they talk about, is digital first. And the boss of the BBC, he wants to move everything away from being broadcast, really. So the local radio, he wants to get all of that on BBC Sound, so you get it through your phone or a smart speaker if you want one of them in your house. I don't know why you would. And TV, he reckons sort of mid-2030, they're not going to be broadcasting TV anymore. It's all going to be delivered digitally, and the BBC is doubling down on it. Not doubling down on it enough to compete with the likes of ITV, who recently released ITVX, isn't it? Which has got quite a claim. It's a good service, and you can pay for it, get rid of the ads, or you can watch it for free with the ads. It's ITV that did that first, not the BBC. Although iPlayer doesn't get that many complaints, to be honest, but I wouldn't know because I can't watch it. But yeah, he's going digital first, and it's going to cost a lot of local radio people their jobs, and not just news reporters. There's other staff involved in all of that as well. So this strike probably will go forward. The BBC's proposals would create 6 regions under the new audio editors covering North West, North East, Yorkshire and Lincolnshire, Midland and East South East. As a result, a total of 139 posts on local radio will be jeopardised with a voluntary redundancy drive underway. And it's got to be an expensive thing, local radio. It has to be, because they are the main local radio providers. All the others have fallen by the wayside, haven't they? Because they couldn't survive being commercial. All got amalgamated into Heart or whatever. It's got to be expensive. The building, the staff, the infrastructure, the broadcast licences, all of those for all the areas of the UK the BBC have to pay for. Now, they do get 3.7 billion quid a year, but the mismanagement of that means they're hemorrhaging money on local radio. And I'm not surprised these changes have come about, but there's been a lot more backlash on this and a lot more going on about this than the boss of the BBC. He must have thought. He cannot have known it was going to get this bad. Loads of people have signing petitions and protesting about it. Now BBC journalists and staff are going to strike about it. But the thing with the BBC is they can't just put their hands up and say, yeah, sorry, we're wrong, we're not going to do that. They're not capable of that. He's going to double down. So yeah, expect to see strikes, I reckon. What do you reckon about this then? I think it'd be quite interesting if some of like the morning hosts or something do go on strike. Or if it's just going to be the news reporters on there, which you wouldn't really notice much difference anyway, would you? I'd be interested to see where this goes, and I'll keep an eye on it. Because I do listen to BBC Essex on my way to work in the morning sometimes, not all the time. Most of the time I have LBC on. Unless they're talking about something rubbish, then I'll flick over to BBC Essex. And I forget the name of the girl on there, but she's quite good in the mornings. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Because that way, hopefully I'll see you in another video again soon when I... Ta-da.